Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel Who Created It and How. Take a look around you right now. Chances are you'll spot a book, a notebook, a piece of mail, or even the cash in your wallet. What do they all have in common? Paper. It's so fundamental to our lives that we barely even notice it. We use it to learn, to create, to communicate, and to organize our world. But have you ever stopped to think about where this incredible material came from? Who was the genius who first figured out how to turn plant fibers into a smooth, writable surface? Today, we're going on a journey back in time, nearly 2,000 years ago, to uncover the story of the invention of paper and the man credited with this world-changing innovation. Our story begins in ancient China, during the Eastern Han Dynasty. Before paper as we know it existed, people had to get creative when it came to writing. The earliest forms of writing were carved into oracle bones and turtle shells. Later, scribes used heavy bamboo slips. Imagine trying to carry a book made of bamboo. An entire cart would be needed just to transport a few volumes. It was cumbersome, heavy, and incredibly inconvenient. Another alternative was silk, which was wonderfully lightweight and smooth to write on. But there was a huge problem. Silk was outrageously expensive, reserved only for the emperor and the highest echelons of the nobility. For everyday record-keeping, education, and communication, neither bamboo nor silk was a practical solution. The world desperately needed a writing material that was both lightweight and affordable. This is where our hero enters the story, a man named Cai Lun. Born around the year 50 AD, Cai Lun was a eunuch who served in the imperial court of Emperor He of Han. Now, when we think of inventors, we often picture scientists in a lab, but Cai Lun was a court official, an administrator. His position gave him a unique perspective. He saw firsthand the inefficiency of using bamboo slips for government documents and the extreme cost of using silk. He understood the urgent need for a better alternative. Driven by a desire to improve the administration of the empire, Cai Lun began to experiment. He wasn't the very first person to try making a paper-like substance, as archaeological evidence shows some primitive, coarse forms of paper existed before him. However, these early versions were rough and not suitable for writing. Cai Lun's true genius was not in inventing the concept from scratch, but in perfecting the process and creating the first high-quality, practical writing paper. So, how did he do it? Cai Lun was a master of resourcefulness. He looked at the materials around him and saw potential where others saw waste. He developed a recipe that involved breaking down various plant fibers. He used the inner bark of the mulberry tree, scraps of hemp, old rags, and even discarded fishing nets. His process was revolutionary for its time. First, these raw materials were soaked in water and mashed into a pulp. This pulpy slurry was then spread thinly onto a woven screen, or mold. As the water drained away through the screen, a thin mat of tangled fibers was left behind. This mat was then pressed to squeeze out more water and left to dry in the sun. The result: a thin, flexible, and most importantly smooth sheet of paper that was perfect for writing with a brush and ink. It was lightweight, durable, and incredibly cheap to produce, compared to silk or bamboo. Around the year 105 AD, Cai Lun presented his new invention to Emperor He. The emperor was thrilled. He recognized immediately the immense value of this new material. Paper would streamline government administration, make communication faster, and spread knowledge like never before. The emperor praised Cai Lun for his ingenuity and promoted him, granting him an aristocratic title and great wealth. The new method of papermaking was quickly adopted throughout the empire, and Cai Lun's name went down in history. The paper was often called Marquis Cai's paper, in his honor. This invention was a turning point for Chinese civilization, fueling a boom in literature, art, and education. For the first time, knowledge was not just for the elite, it could be shared widely and preserved for future generations. For centuries, the art of papermaking was a closely guarded secret in China. It was one of the empire's most valuable technologies. However, secrets that big rarely stay secret forever. The knowledge gradually began to spread along the Silk Road. It reached Korea and Japan, where papermaking evolved into a refined art form. The major turning point for the rest of the world came in the 8th century, during the Battle of Talas in 751 AD. In this clash between the Chinese Tang dynasty and the expanding Arab Abbasid Caliphate, the Arabs captured a group of Chinese soldiers, among whom were skilled paper makers. These prisoners of war were taken to Samarkand, a major city on the Silk Road, and were compelled to share their knowledge. From Samarkand, papermaking technology spread like wildfire throughout the Islamic world. Cities like Baghdad and Damascus became major centers of paper production. Paper mills were established, and this new, affordable material fueled a golden age of science, mathematics, and literature in the Arab world. Libraries grew to immense sizes, filled with books on every imaginable subject. Scholars translated Greek and Roman texts, preserving ancient knowledge that might otherwise have been lost. It was through the Islamic world that paper finally made its way to Europe. The first paper mill in Europe was established in Spain, then under Moorish rule, around the 11th century. From there it slowly spread to Italy, Germany, and then the rest of the continent. When paper arrived in Europe, it replaced parchment, which was made from processed animal skin. Like silk, parchment was effective but very expensive and labor-intensive to produce. The arrival of cheaper paper was a game changer. It set the stage for another revolutionary invention a few centuries later, Johannes Gutenberg's printing press in the 1440s. The combination of affordable paper and mass printing was explosive. It democratized knowledge on an unprecedented scale, fueling the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the scientific revolution. Without paper, the modern world as we know it simply wouldn't exist. There would be no mass-produced books, no newspapers, no paper money, no blueprints, and no personal diaries. So, the next time you jot down a note, read a book, or even use a paper towel, take a moment to think of Kai Lun. His quest for a more efficient way to handle court documents nearly 2,000 years ago set off a chain reaction that transformed human civilization. He took waste products, tree bark, old rags, and fishing nets, and turned them into one of the most important tools for human progress. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most profound innovations come from solving a simple, practical problem. The humble sheet of paper is a testament to human ingenuity and our endless desire to connect, create, and share ideas. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the history of paper. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the amazing stories behind everyday inventions, please hit that like button, subscribe to Who Created It and How, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Let us know in the comments what invention you'd like us to explore next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.